What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Starfield and all of that pressure that basically is now on this game. So let's talk about what's been going on, in the internet. There's obviously, this has been a movement. This has been a thing that people have been talking about kind of for a while, and then with Redfall now finally out, it's kind of gone all in with, all right, well, we've been saying that Starfield was the big one. It kind of needs to be the big one. Well, now that Redfall is out, Starfield really, like with an extra R, really needs to be this massive success. So I want to talk about that. Now, I agree with it. Let's start there. I do think where we're at current day with Microsoft, now I don't think if Starfield comes out and it is average, below average, whatever, I don't think that means, let's say, the destruction of Xbox. I do think it could mean Phil Spencer gets fired or steps down or something. I do think that could happen. If Starfield is a disaster, if it comes out completely broken, if it's not getting enough praise, whatever praise that they, deem necessary for the game, I think that could happen. Now, does that mean the destruction of Xbox Game Studios? Does that mean Avowed gets canceled and Hellblade 2 and all that stuff? No. But I do think there could be some negative, effects if Starfield doesn't do well. But I do think the idea that, is everything riding on Starfield, I think to a large degree that is true, right? So while I don't think the destruction of Xbox, I do think there is a lot that rides on it. Now, I'll take one step further, and I do think people generally agree with this. It's not Todd Howard's necessarily fault. It's not Bethesda's fault. It's not Starfield itself. The people that are working on the game every day for years and years and years, they didn't do this to themselves. If anything, Xbox, they kind of did it because, these people are just working. They don't say, oh, well, we're going to make a game that literally everything rides on this game. I don't think that's fair to put on them, but at the same time, sadly, it's literally the situation we have. So, Redfall coming out. And look, earlier today, I did the video impressions. I played 4 hours of Redfall, and it's not good. Now, I don't think it's god-awful. There's a range, I think, of opinions on the game. I think it's definitely below average, and this is, I don't think this game was ever going to reinvent the wheel or be something absolutely, huge, but I think it was probably expected to be a nice, solid hit and give people something to get them through into, September now for Starfield. Then even, Forza would probably come out right after that, and Hellblade 2, I think, is being teased in Game Pass ads that maybe that game's coming out in 2023, which I hope. Give me Hellblade 2 in December, and I'll be very happy. And that's the thing. For as much as I feel a certain way about Redfall, and as much as on Starfield's back here, I am excited about the future. Call me gullible or, whatever you want to call me, that's okay. But, games like Starfield and Hellblade 2, which is kind of my most anticipated, or, you got Fable down the line eventually. I know Everwild maybe is dead, but I really liked the look of that game. So there is plenty from them, and you have so many teams working on so many games. They are bound to hit, so I'm sure there's going to be something, and there's plenty of them, in fact, almost all of them, that I'm really looking forward to. But all eyes really do go on Starfield. I mean, saying it with the whole, what happens if it's a catastrophe. The thing that worries me is this, okay? I actually have great confidence that Starfield is going to be a good game. I know I don't talk about Starfield too much, but when I have, I think I've been rather positive about it, and I'm pretty mixed on these kind of games in general. Fallout, New Vegas is my favorite. 3 I like, but I don't like as much as other people. I actually don't like 4, obviously 76. Elder Scrolls, Skyrim I like, Oblivion I like, but they're not like the top dogs to me, but I'm also, not fully into that genre. But I think Starfield can be extremely good. But a couple things that do concern me is going to be that performance. I don't think anybody can say with a straight face that these games come out in good condition. I mean, you do that to me. You tell me that Skyrim worked well on day one, because I would tell you that that's an outright lie, right? And you go down the line. Fallout's obviously 76, but all of these games, and then now Redfall. So you got the frame rate, issue, but you also have the game crashing and all sorts of other things. I know that's not the same team, but these are issues that we're seeing more and more. Here's another thing that's unfair technically, right? To put on just one game and say, okay, well, because all these other games did it, now if you do it, you're going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Performance. I mean, performance is the thing. Now, they kind of did do it to themselves in a way, because historically, these games don't really function well when they first release. But what I'm talking about is more of, the Jedi Survivor and then Redfall back to back within 1 week, not even a week, within 4 days of each other. We had 2 games that, at least on PC, but also on console, just flat out do not run well, right? you can sense, I think, in the industry, people have literally had enough. They're holding it over games more, which is fine. Hold over whatever you want on any game, for any reason. That's your right and that's your opinion to do. But you know what I mean? You can kind of sense it. I think, when Skyrim comes out, or came out, back in the day, or the 30 times it released, there's a toleration level. And also, based off the past of a studio, you can tolerate certain things. You can say, okay, well, the game's coming out. We know what they're normally like, so we're setting the bar here. And as long as the game works up till this point, you're good, because let's just the bar is set for what you've done in the past. I think that's true to an extent with Starfield, but I also think that all of these past, recency kind of bias is getting into people's heads, and probably rightfully so. We shouldn't really tolerate the Star Wars Jedi coming out and being unplayable, Redfall being unplayable. We shouldn't really accept that. So it's about time that we started to demand that this doesn't happen anymore. But that is going to, I think, be a problem for Starfield, because you can't delay it till eternity. You already kind of have. And I can't imagine the game comes out in perfect state. Not that it can come out in an above average or good state, but I think there still will be problems, visual, textures, loading, crashes. And if this stuff happens, and if people are reporting it, online, the game can sink, I think, almost just from that alone. Now, that is just one part of it. Maybe it doesn't sink from that. Maybe it sinks or swims with the game, itself beyond that. Again, I personally have a lot more confidence with that. I think this game is going to be huge. I think it's going to be detailed. I think the stories they can tell in it are going to be really cool. I definitely am excited. It's just, again, it's almost, there's a prediction kind of thing, I guess. I don't even know what kind of video this is, but there's a lot riding on Starfield, and I already get the sense that at least one issue is going to be the performance. You could look at the frame rate. I know people have kind of gone back to what Todd Howard has said, and I think the breadcrumbs are there that they could very easily come out and say, this is a 30 FPS game, and you would say, well, they've kind of hinted that, it's kind of been almost known. I think that could happen. So how much is that going to bother people, right? And those are, again, I don't think that sinks or swims the game. I don't think that destroys Microsoft or Xbox, but I think that's the first wave, and then obviously the game comes out. Beyond the fact that you had Redfall, you don't have anything else. You didn't have anything for, last year, there was so little. There was very, very little in 2022, and then now you're going into 2023. Redfall is your only one so far. Now, you had smaller one, like the last case of Benedict Fox. I haven't played it yet, but it looks awesome. So you have these small things. Game Pass, obviously, is still the best service. The games you get for the price you get it is truly unmatched, and I know everybody online says that, but it's true. It's actually true. But that's all you really have. And then now you're having defenses. Well, Redfall's on Game Pass. Well, at least it's on Game Pass, because if you had to pay for that thing, well, that would be even worse. That's not, I don't think, where Microsoft or Xbox wants people talking, right? Oh, it's on Game Pass, so we're okay with it being half broken and just really not being a great game. That's kind of what we expect from Game Pass games. That's not true. You do not want that to become the norm. You don't want the Halo. Halo, I think, is better than this, but Halo having its issues and lasting long term, right? Obviously had those issues as well. You don't want that to be linked to, well, it's on Game Pass, so the quality is just going to be lowered. You absolutely do not want that. And Starfield probably is the biggest, because this is the game. This game will get 20 plus, I believe this, 20 plus million players. I think so. Game Pass is far beyond that. I know not everybody that has Game Pass is going to get every game that comes out, but I think Starfield, with just how gigantic it is, and Bethesda and Todd Howard and stuff, I think it'll have 20 million players. I don't think it'll sell that much because it's going to be on Game Pass, right? But this is going to be like the defining thing. Oh, this is the level of quality that we're just going to get from you going forward. And again, a lot of that isn't on Starfield, but because of Redfall, because of mismanagement, I don't really know what else you can say. I know games take time. I'm not advocating releasing games 2 years before they're ready, because we all know what you can get, if you do that. But the way that you have so many teams, you have so many studios, and you have so many games, and that you couldn't have put a schedule together. You couldn't have put a schedule together that's worse than the one you have right now. That's the way it is. I think Starfield can save it. I think Hellblade can save. Having Starfield and Hellblade within like a 2, 3, 4 month period from each other, I think is a fantastic step and almost needs to happen. So there's my thoughts on it. Redfall certainly hurt that, but we'll see how Starfield does. I'm hoping for the best, and I'll be covering Starfield so much as we get closer to the game. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure it'll be peaceful and not full of console warriors going back and forth, and that's a joke. Let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.